Hello, welcome to International Student Orientation, our January presentations. My name is Katie Russo, and I am the Assistant Director of Intercultural Programs here at UT Dallas. I am so glad that you are joining us today. We have a wonderful lineup of presentations this week. Today we have University Career Center resources. So we have two members of the University Career Center here to talk to you. A few logistics before I get started. So you can see and hear us, but we cannot see or hear you. So don't worry about your audio or your video. We cannot see them or hear them. You will be able to ask questions towards the end of the presentation. And so you'll see on the right side of your screen, there's a question box. We'll turn that on towards the end. So you'll be able to type Q&A questions and our presenters will be able to answer them for you. Closed captioning is available. So if you need some additional language support, go ahead and turn that on. It's available in several different languages, and that's there just as a resource for you. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce our presenters. Flower, can you switch to the next screen? So first up, we have Betsy Che, and she is our first presenter from the University Career Center. And so Betsy, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, sounds good, Katie. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I appreciate it. So as Katie briefly stated, I'm Betsy Shea. I'm the Associate Director for our University Career Center, and I'm going to be sharing with you all some of the wonderful services that are going to be really helpful for each of you as you are navigating, trying to prepare, for that internship or that student employment or that part-time or full-time position. So helping you all get the most professional experiences and ways to promote yourself as possible. So if we can, Flower, move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So a little bit about the University Career Center, and you may see the abbreviation UCC. This is an incredible resource for all of our students from the time that you begin at UTD all your years here and even beyond graduation. So we offer very intentional programming and valuable services, again, as we help prepare you all for lasting and meaningful careers. So next slide, please. So one aspect that I will share with you about our University Career Center regards our first functional area, which is the area of career development. So this is the area where our career consultants and myself, we really help students develop their knowledge and their skills needed in order to make informed career decisions. And this takes place through virtual career advising as we are still remote. And also by offering various career assessments, and then of course being able to assist and support students in practice. And so each school within UTD is assigned a career consultant. So we have a specialized expert career consultant that is going to help students in all areas in their career development. So if you're wanting help with your resume or coming up with a cover letter, maybe you're thinking, I need to know how to network, I need a LinkedIn page. And then of course, like we talked about before, career assessments and that job and internship search, we also offer mock interviews. And that's just to name a few. So again, you can see that there is quite a multifaceted range of what we can help you with. So let's go ahead with next, please. Thank you. So here's just a little visual, knowing that you don't get to see us on campus just yet, but so you can put a face with the name. Here is our career consultant team. So you already met me, but we have Bethany Ahoy, and she is our career consultant that works with ATech and A&H students. We've got our newest career consultant member, Satin Blair, and she is our career consultant that works with the EPS and IS students. We also have Mr. Eric Green, and he works with the ECS engineering and the NSM students. And then we have Mr. Alan Knox, and he helps our JSOM and BBS students. So that is the makeup of our career consultants who will help all of you achieve your next steps. So next slide, please. And I won't go too far into this because I've got a fantastic team member joining us here for this presentation today, Zara, who will go more into detail about this. But you will learn about the student employment facet of our University Career Center here in just a little bit. So go ahead with next slide, please. All right, so another area of our Career Center that we can offer you wonderful programs and services is through our employer partnerships. And with this area, this is where students are able to successfully connect with and interact with our employers through, again, when we're back on campus, or through virtual networking, through employer informational panels, and various hiring events. So this is ways, again, that our students can get in front of these top-notch employers. Next slide, please. And then another area within our University Career Center, we've got 4 main areas. So we went over the career development area. Zara is going to go over student employment. I went over employer partnerships. And then lastly, experiential programs is the 4th pillar that makes up our University Career Center. And this is the area where students are able to learn through experiential, hands-on reflection and learning and gaining real-world experiences. So this would include internships, externships, co-ops, career networking, interning abroad, and even job shadowing. So there's lots of different types of ways that students can have hands-on learning. And so this is the area that helps students with that. Next slide, please. And so a big component of being able to access the University Career Center and make your appointments, being able to see what events are coming up, and getting to connect with the employers is our career management system, which is called Handshake. And so all students at UTD are already set up to have a Handshake account. And so students just need to make sure to access their Handshake account and be active on there. And so again, here's where students can search for jobs and internships. They can register to attend events, workshops, or even virtual career fairs, scheduling their appointments, and various online resources. Next slide, please. So some additional resources that our University Career Center offers online, which is fantastic, knowing that we are in a very digital season right now, is Vault, which is a wonderful career component that allows students to really research industries and areas of interest, again, to be informed and to educate themselves on what career jobs and career clusters they might be interested in. We also offer Focus 2, which is one of our career assessments. We have U-Science, which is not, their logo isn't listed here, but that is another new career assessment that we are offering. So that's on our website. We also have Interview Stream, which is a wonderful online tool to be able to practice your interviewing and be able to have predetermined questions, or we can even come up with custom questions, and you can video yourself and be able to look at some of the aspects that you can prep yourself on for interviewing to make sure that you are well rehearsed and that you are prepared. And then lastly, we do offer Going Global, which is a wonderful international career website that allows students to find out what's going on in other countries in terms of what are the expectations for work, what's available, what are companies like, as well as what might available housing look like, and all of that. And it does offer different languages on the site as well. So some really great tools that we offer for our online resources. Next slide, please. And so getting into, again, I talked a little bit about our events that take place through our employer relations and our career development team. And so we offer several career-related events throughout the year. So that certainly includes this spring semester that we're currently in. I want to say that we have over 80 different career events scheduled just for the spring alone. And again, these range in topics. It can range in audience and size, but the goal is always to provide relevant and up-to-date career preparation information. Next slide, please. So just to give you a little snippet of what some different types of events look like through the University Career Center, I mentioned that we offer career fairs and virtual career expos. Okay, so students can meet with employers virtually who are seeking UTD students and alumni for hire. We also offer several different seminars and virtual workshops and events. So these topics cover topics like networking, resumes, interview prep, job search, CV writing, and much more. We also have employers that host information sessions so that students can learn more about their companies and what positions are currently available. And then we also have recruiters that either will come onto campus when we are finished being remote, but also that are interested in conducting virtual interviews. So these are some great events that we really hope students partake in. Next slide, please. So that really wraps it up for my portion of sharing with you the University Career Center overview. So again, for more information, just log into your Handshake account and you can search for any upcoming events and schedule your virtual appointment with your career advisor. And so we've got our email address here. But I think there's going to be a Q&A session at the end, so I will stick around. If you have any questions at all, feel free to type them in the chat box and or ask at the end. So it's so nice to be with you all today, and we're really looking forward to having all of you come visit us at the University Career Center. So I will turn it over to my colleague, Zara, and let her take it away.
Thank you, Betsy. All of you, hello, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world today and tuning in. My name is Zara Narani. I'm the Student Employment Coordinator in the Career Center, the University Career Center. Flower, if you won't mind, next slide, please. My goal for you today is to at least have seen a Handshake, because I think far and away the biggest question that most students come to us with the Student Employment Office is, what does Handshake look like? How do I find the jobs? And Handshake is our one-stop shop for everything. Betsy did a great job in showing you all the different aspects of it, the events, the fairs, the appointments, the jobs, all of it is contained on Handshake. So my goal for my portion of the presentation today is for you to at least have seen a little bit of what Handshake looks like. But as way of an introduction to our team, the Student Employment Office is a tiny but mighty team of 4. There's myself, Cameron Woods, who is our Assistant Director, and Andrew Anderson and Lori Manning, who are our administrative assistants. They are sort of the face of student employment, posting the jobs, approving the jobs, making sure all the paperwork goes through, everything is lined up once you do snag that job. And before I dive in, you might want to take note of our inbox. Student employment at utdallas.edu is the inbox that all 4 of us dip into throughout the day, and we're able to get back to you quickly should you have any career-related questions that you'd like to direct to us. Our goals in our office are for you guys to have meaningful part-time job opportunities while you are students at our institution. And a big part of that is on-campus jobs. So next slide, please. So getting started, when you're thinking about holding a job while you're pursuing your education, really consider that these are waking hours, and usually they are during business hours, and that's usually between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. When you think about it, 20 hours a week doesn't sound like a whole lot in terms of hourly commitment to your week itself. However, when you consider that these are waking hours and that you still have to go to school and you still have to study and do the projects and do all the great things that you'll be doing to pursue your degree, it really becomes taxing on your time. So identifying your goals is going to be very important on the onset before you even embark on the career search. And once you've decided that, yes, I want either an on-campus job, an off-campus job, whatever position and pursuit that you want to take, then it will be in your lab to really familiarize yourself with the organization. If you're going to be working on campus, we make this very easy. There's a lot of organization charts on the UT Dallas website. Familiarize yourselves with them. If you want a little bit more insight as to maybe what the Office of Audit and Compliance does, get to know who the stakeholders are in that office. What do they do? What are their purposes, their missions, and their stakeholders? This will help give you a leg up when you do see a position open up in their office. And that way you can see, okay, these are what the student jobs are there. This is what's going to be expected of me. These are the skills that I'll be gaining there. So this, the initial research of each position is going to be crucial in making sure that you're successful in tailoring your resume, which is what Betsy's team does best, making sure those resumes really speak to the positions that you'll be applying to. Next slide, please. So again, Handshake. So Handshake is our one-stop shop, like I said. It's going to hold everything on there. And each of you already has a profile on Handshake. So you'll be able to log in with your UT Dallas NetID email. So the NetID email is the one with the 3 letters and then the numbers at utdallas.edu. And you'll have access to all of these, all of the jobs that we post and every seminar or workshop or recruitment effort and event, all of that is going to be held on Handshake. Our office, Student Employment, does offer a part-time job search appointment on Handshake. So if you ever want us to walk you through and get you familiarized with the filters and the different things that you can do to search for a job, because I know that whenever you log in and you look at maybe 8,000 jobs, it doesn't really tailor it to what you're looking for. So we do offer an appointment to help walk you through on a case-by-case basis and make sure that you're really maximizing your time on there. If you just registered for courses, it might take us about a week to set up your profile, but everybody should have it. So within that first week of successful course registration, you will have access to Handshake. Next slide, please. So logging in and searching, again, you will need to use the NetID version of your password. So that's not the version that has your full name. So mine would not be Zara.Narani. It would be the version that has my letters, ZXN, and then all the numbers that come after it. And then once you're in there, the first thing you'll want to do is to confirm your profile details. We automatically pull this in from Orion, and it has all of the student information that you signed up with, and so it should be accurate. But every now and then there's something that might be incorrect. So you really want to double check that information and make sure it highlights and reflects the correct information for you personally. So that includes your skills, any kind of work experiences that you have, you will have to input those. We don't generally pull that in automatically. So any kind of work experiences and kind of skills you want to highlight, any links to your projects or portfolios that you want to highlight for recruiters or employers. These are the things that you'll want to freshen up on your Handshake profile. Think of this as another version of LinkedIn profiles, but this is very tailored to our institution and reflects more information that is specific to UT Dallas. Next slide, please. So here is what it'll look like. When you log into Handshake, that first screen that pops up for you, this is what it's going to be. before I dive into the nitty-gritty of jobs, I do want to point out the Career Center link. It's there in the top right corner next to your name. It'll say Career Center. That's what's going to take you straight to the page that'll allow you to set up appointments. And appointments are important because when you're opening up the lines of dialogue with your career consultant, which is everyone in Betsy's team, that is how you reach out to them. You don't have to, sign up one time. You can open up those lines of dialogue to review your documents, to talk about your CV, your resume, your cover letters, maybe even do a mock interview or two. But that is where you can find all of the appointment types to either my team or Betsy's team, and even experiential learning, which is for internships. But what I want to dive into with the next few slides is going to be jobs. So once you log in with your NetID and your password, this is the screen you're going to see. And all of the resources available to you are in these ready to click icons. And the first one, of course, is jobs. So next slide, please. And there it is. And one more, please, Flower. Thank you. So once you click on jobs, every single job that we have posted on the Career Center Handshake is going to populate for you here. On this page, we've already enacted the on-campus filter, which is there along the top. You'll see location, full-time job, internship, part-time, and on-campus. So since on-campus jobs is a lot of what I live and breathe on a daily basis, we already turned it on. And you can see all of those jobs populate on the left-hand side. This first one is a research analyst position, and all of the information regarding that is going to be populated under it. This is what the hiring managers put out. So everything is just reflected from what the departments have requested. So you'll see the salary, you'll see what qualifications they request, etc. And underneath that, there's actually going to be a box as to whether the qualifications that you have fit within what the hiring manager is looking for. Kind of consider these as nice to haves for that hiring department and apply accordingly. Next slide, please. So there it is. That is the on-campus filter for every position that's going to be currently active for you on Handshake. And please do keep in mind that we hire on a rolling basis. So, jobs come and we post them and then they go and then other jobs come in. So don't be discouraged if you feel like the number is low. We are constantly hiring. I believe last year we hired something around 2,200 students, and already within this first week of January, we've hired around 2,000 students. So we are set to crush the number of students that we hired last year, and we're slated to, I believe the projected numbers are about 2,700 students on campus this year. Next slide, please. So the next portion that I want to talk about is the all filters button there. And I know that a lot of you will be thinking about work authorizations and sponsorships with potential employers. So if you're working on campus, since we are the institution that you are pursuing your education in, you will not need work authorizations to work on campus. That includes any third-party recruiter on campus, so say the bookstore or any of the restaurants on campus. They work through a third-party institution to process your resumes and hire you. However, since it is housed on campus, those still count as on-campus jobs and you will not need work authorization. However, if you'll be working externally, Handshake does offer the filter if an employer will sponsor you or just doesn't require, for whatever reason, a US visa. You can turn on the filter there and filter out any positions that will require or will not accept sponsorships. And this is what the screen will look like for you there. Next slide, please. So an on-campus job search. Like I said, I realize that each of you will have a very unique situation and setup and maybe have different goals. So in order for us to best tailor the job search to you and any help that we can offer, I would recommend that you set up an appointment. Myself and Cameron Woods, the assistant director, we both hold appointments for student employment specific job searches. So if you ever want to search for jobs on campus, you can easily set up an appointment with myself or Cameron, and that is done through that Career Center link on Handshake. And then you click on appointments, which I circled here, so that you can set it up. It's a 30-minute meeting. We can talk about, what your goals are, how to search, what fits, what doesn't fit, and, offer any kind of referrals to maybe Betsy's team or experiential learning team for internships, should that be one of your goals as well. But I think, we always love talking with students and being able to bring all of our resources to you directly. So please do, don't be strangers, please do set up those appointments with us so that we can help tailor the job searches to you. I put on here at the bottom of the screen some tidbits about the guidelines that we must follow as an institution hiring our students. On-campus positions are limited to under 20 hours a week. So that is the maximum number of hours that you can work while pursuing your education. If you're ever curious, there's plenty of studies out there about how students who are working while pursuing their degrees are more likely to graduate, and to graduate with higher GPAs when they work. And it's for a number of reasons. There's networking, having closer ties to a university, and it's all these really great things. However, all of those benefits tend to go the opposite direction when the hours of work per week exceed 20. And that's for the simple reason of just time. It's taxing on your time, and it's taxing to be studying full time as well. So that is why we cap it at 20 hours a week. And just as a heads up, we do require a minimum GPA of a 2.0, because when those GPAs fall below a 2.0, it just tells us that you need more time to dedicate to your studies and not to employment. So if your GPA falls below a 2.0, your employment on campus will be terminated. Next slide, please, Flower. Thank you. Betsy also touched on interviewing. So we do find ourselves in a very fun virtual environment starting last spring. So, a lot of the resources that came out of this, we have the benefit of having a couple semesters under our belts with virtual resources. And one of those is Interview Stream. So you can practice interviewing via Interview Stream directly. You can practice answering, what are your strengths, your weaknesses, those types of questions that come up in pretty much any interview. You can do that there and work out the kinks of any of your answers, making sure there aren't filler words, etc. Interview Stream is the best resource out there in helping guide you through and giving you that practice in real time. We actually just added Interview Stream on demand, which allows our employer partners, so any departments that are hiring our students, it allows them to offer you a one-way virtual interviewing opportunity. And that way, you're taking everything that you learned on the preparation side and able to actually apply it to a job that you might hold on campus. A couple of our employer partners do use it. So I feel like from the preparation side to the actual usage of it for a job is a seamless transition and something that's very valuable to offer to our students on the front end. I also linked here the University Career Center development guidance, It walks you through different aspects of what to think about for employment. So I highly recommend clicking that link that I can provide to Katie as well if you don't have access to the PowerPoint presentation. Some things to keep in mind about interviewing remotely. Obviously, we are all working from our homes and we are merely boxes on screen. So something to keep in mind is to always test your connection beforehand. There's nothing worse about having to log in for a virtual interview and then realizing that your computer doesn't have enough battery to make it through. So always make sure that everything is set up with ample time to spare. Set up your background. These are things that can become very, very distracting to your interviewer. So set it up in a way where it's as neutral of a background as you can get it. It doesn't have to be a beautifully curated wall of photos or anything of the sort. It can just be a blank wall. But having, say, a fan spinning above your head can be distracting to your interviewer. And these are the things that we do, unfortunately, have to think about when interviewing virtually. So do keep that in mind. Dressing to impress. These are things that any interviewer looks for in a regular interview. Are you dressed for the part? Are you taking it seriously? When I see somebody in pajamas, it tells me that they didn't take that extra effort to really show me and showcase their best selves. And so really think about how you're presenting yourself on a screen, where you're looking, how you're dressed, what your background looks like. All of these things come into play, even if it's not overtly stated during an interview. And the last note here, keeping desktop or tabs clear. This comes into play for some of the more functional interviews that you might see. So your interviewer might require you to share your screen to do some sort of test or project or showcase a portfolio. This is going to come into play in making sure that your personal email isn't pulled up, that there isn't a very cluttered desktop, maybe personal photos, etc. These are the things that you wouldn't necessarily bring into a professional job environment. And so take that into account when you're presenting yourself professionally, even from home. Next slide, please. All right, so you've gone through this process, you've set up an appointment, you've come and talked to us, you've looked for a job, you've snagged a job, you've done a phenomenal interview, and your department wants to hire you. A lot of students ask us what it looks like on the other end, so I wanted to make sure the process is completely transparent to you as well. So once you're hired and everyone's on board and you've accepted that job, then you come back to us in student employment and we do your onboarding paperwork. These are all of the documents that you would expect for hire. So your I-9 documents that a lot of times students show us their passport, their I-9s, their I-20s. This is everything the Department of Homeland Security requires of us as employers to keep on file on your behalf. And it shows the government and everybody who is involved that you are an official employee and that we can pay you for the great work that you'll be doing. Once we do all of that onboarding paperwork, then you are cleared to begin work. Please don't ever work for a paid position if you have not come to see us and you have not signed any documentation. Officially, there is no such thing as a volunteer student employee, so we want to make sure that you are paid for all of the time. And the only way we know how to do that is to make sure the paperwork is here and that payroll knows that you're an official employee as well. Once you're hired and you have all that paperwork in and you get a timesheet, etc., you'll be invited to new employee orientation, which I actually lead, within the first 30 days of your hire. This is where we give you all of the great resources and documents and how-tos and what is allowed and what isn't, and kind of familiarize you with the culture of work at the university. And then from there, you just knock it out of the park. You do everything that you were hired to do, and you wow your supervisors in the departments that you're in. The note at the very bottom here is, we've had a lot of time to work out all of the details around virtual work with our students. And so there are many departments on campus who are allowing their students to work virtually, and that includes the Career Center, actually. All of our students work virtually, and we check in with them as supervisors remotely, so nobody is in our physical office. Some departments hire their students to come on campus, but right now those are very minimal. However, the place that you conduct your work is important to payroll because they have to consider the taxes of the countries that you'll be working in. So at this time, payroll is only able to pay wages to employees residing within the contiguous United States. Next slide, please. No action items. Where do you take it from here? This was a lot of information. This was a lot of, details and words, and other resources. So first and foremost, I would highly recommend that you meet with someone on Betsy's team. They are phenomenal at career advising and getting you set on a path to meet your career goals. So set up that appointment with your career consultant and get the ball rolling. Taking the profiler is definitely going to help you in teasing out the details of what you're looking for and on your career journey. And then it was all of the research that I mentioned on the first part of the presentation, the list of offices and organizations that you want to work for, who are the people who are hiring and what do their different offices do, verifying your Handshake details, make sure you know what is on your Handshake profile, where the jobs are, what it says under your profile, what you want to add and put up with, and updating your signature line. You are all students of the university. You have, put that in your signature line. It looks a lot more professional outside of just signing your name at the bottom of an email. And this is something that you can do immediately. And I put a template on here that a lot of our students use. So it's your name. If you're part of an organization, if you have a title in that organization, you can always put that there. But if you don't, your class year and that you're a student of the University of Texas at Dallas really helps alongside your email. Next slide, please. So in thinking about the resources available to you, OIT advised us that there is a Teams orientation that they are holding for staff and students, and I would highly recommend all of you attend it. I am always learning new things about Teams, and since we're going to continue being virtually, at least for the remainder of the semester possibly, it's going to be crucial that all of us know how to work Teams and what the different intricacies of it are. Teams is always being updated, and there's other capacities that it has, and so it's always nice to keep a finger on the pulse of technology, especially when we rely so heavily on this technology. So OIT has advised us that January 19th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, they will be holding a Teams orientation and showing you all the ins and outs to this platform. Next slide, please. And again, this is our contact. studentemployment@utdallas.edu gets you the inbox to all four of us. But if you want to contact me directly, my inbox door is always open to you as well. It's zara.narani@utdallas.edu. Thank you. And I think that was all of the slides for me. So. Right.
Thank you very much, Betsy and Sarah, for your great presentation. Thank you all the students that have joined us today. It looks like we have a very, very nice crowd here. We have opened up the question and answers chat. Please go ahead if you wish and let us know if you have any questions. In the meanwhile, I would like just to mention that UT Dallas in general has a lot of opportunities to develop different skills and to get you prepared for your future jobs. Being an international student, you do have the advantage because companies, as you know, look for people with intercultural skills. We will be offering together intercultural programs and the Career Center a session during the semester that will help you take advantage of these intercultural skills and learn how to leverage those into your resume. So please be attentive to that session. I'm sure it will be very good for you. We do have one question concerning visa, whether if an H-4 visa student is able to work on campus legally. We would advise you for anything that has to do with visas. The best way to do it is to contact the International Student and Scholar Services Office, which is ISSO, just for you to verify if any condition on your type of visa is on. Just to be on the safe side. We do have general knowledge about visa, but we really would prefer if you contact them directly. Any other question? Please feel free. Feel free to join us with questions. In the meanwhile, also, I would like to let you know that this week we have a lot of sessions for you. We hope you take advantage, as you did today, to join us every day, because we will be offering a lot of sessions that has to do with co-curricular activities that you can do while you study at UT Dallas. And those co-curricular activities, as you know, they are so important later on your resume, on your career development. So please join us. What we will be offering is tomorrow we will have an introduction to the Office of Graduate Education. You will learn about all the resources that office can support you with. We will be offering on Wednesday getting involved at UT Dallas with offices that their whole mission is to give you some resources and also fun while you get involved at UT Dallas. We will be talking on Thursday about your first month at UT Dallas, trying to give you some orientation in terms of the main task that we would advise you to accomplish during your first month. And we will be ending up our orientation session with a panel with students that can give you a lot of advice on how to be successful at UT Dallas. So we really hope that you continue to join us during the week. Let's see, we have another question. I have checked the Handshake portal and seems like there is very less jobs for spring students. Is there any chance that jobs will be increased later? Can Betsy or Sarah comment on that?
I can start. So it depends on whether you're looking on campus or off campus positions. I suspect that this question is regarding on campus positions for spring 21 students, because that number is usually much lower than the total number of jobs available on Handshake. And what I like to advise students is consider these job postings as the doorway to many more jobs. The way that some of our bigger hiring departments on campus work is that they open the positions, they post that one job posting on Handshake. However, on the other end, they are pulling maybe about 50 of those applications for hire because they have that many spots to fill. So though it looks like, let's say 8, there are 8 jobs available on campus. On the back end of that, there could be hundreds of jobs available through those 8 job postings. So don't be deterred by the sheer numbers available. Just make sure that you're putting forth the best resume and cover letter that you can tailored to those positions. Because on the back end, on what we work on, there could be a lot more jobs than just those 8 that are showing up. I hope that answers.
Thank you, Sarah. We have another question. Hi, is an incoming student for spring 21 eligible for on-campus job, or is it completing a semester necessary to eligible to work?
That is a great question. As long as you're enrolled for courses for the spring, you are eligible to work on campus. So once you've enrolled in the number of courses needed for meeting the minimum, so that is 6 credit hours for domestic students and 9 credit hours for international students, you are qualified to start looking for that on-campus job, and you can absolutely do so. Having a Handshake profile generally makes it so that you are qualified. But if you have any questions about your specific situation, you can always reach out to us and we can look into it deeper.
Okay, thank you very much. The following question was similar. Can they work the first semester? You already answered. There is another question. Will all international students be able to get a job on campus since we aren't allowed to work off campus in the US? Will there be enough jobs available for all the international students for the first year?
That's also a really great question. I think it really comes down to your goals in terms of whether all international students would want an on-campus job. Some prefer not to work during that first semester or maybe that first year or really ever during their educational journey. So it comes down to the goals of each specific student, whether or not they even want any of the jobs on campus. And also, so right now we're conducting business virtually, it also unfortunately takes into consideration where you will be conducting that work. So if you're currently abroad, unfortunately, you can't qualify for those on-campus positions until you enter the United States. But in terms of numbers, generally, we have a good number of positions available, and we're always advocating for more on campus. And I think pretty much anyone who wants a job is qualified to apply for them. And many students, and like I said, we're slated for around 2,700 jobs on campus this next year. I think that the numbers definitely work out in your favor in terms of being an international student, for sure.
Thank you, Sarah. We have another question. If someone serves as an RA and he or she feels lack of stipend, is it permitted to apply other jobs in campus? Again, this is a question that has to do with your visa status. So we would recommend you to contact ISSO for all the regulations concerning the number of hours that an international student can work on campus. It looks like it's usually an average of 20 hours per week. However, I would advise you to contact the ISSO office and you can review your specific case with them. Okay, we have an additional question. If you please elaborate again, what would be discussed on a one-to-one appointment with the Career Center?
Okay, I can take this. So if the question is, if I'm hearing it correctly, what does a one-on-one appointment look like for a student with one of our career consultants? And so, yeah, I can definitely answer that. So a one-on-one appointment, now that we're in this virtual realm, would of course, be on that digital front. So we utilize Microsoft Teams for conducting our virtual career appointments. And so the student can make their virtual appointment via Handshake, as Zara went into detail sharing how to do that. But again, any questions, just email us or call us and we are happy to walk you through it. And so you make that appointment via Handshake, and then the appointment will take place through Microsoft Teams. And what will happen is a link will be sent to the student. They can just click that link and join the meeting on that specified date and time. And then as far as the appointments go, the student is able to select a variety of different appointment topics. So if the student is specifically wanting a resume critique, they can select that. If the student is wanting to go over a career assessment and get the interpretation from the career consultant, they can select that. If they're wanting help with job search, same thing, they can select that. So there's many different offerings and types of appointments that students can select. And we will say that it certainly is fine if the appointment topic changes and evolves into something else. Our career consultants and myself are always happy to be able to answer students' questions and really find out what's priority for helping the student with their needs. So even if a student selects a certain type of appointment, again, if other questions arise or another topic comes up, we're happy to be able to share and just help the students the best that we can and offer helpful information based on, again, that student's priorities and their needs. So that's really what the appointments look like. And as terms of time-wise, the appointments are specified for certain time durations. So a resume appointment is generally 30 minutes, whereas going over a career assessment and talking about job search strategies, that's been proven that that can take a little longer. And so those are generally scheduled for 45 minutes to 60 minutes. But again, it all depends on the student needs. So if the appointment is shorter, that's fine. Or if, you know, the appointment goes longer and the career consultant doesn't have another appointment or meeting scheduled back to back, then that's fine too. So yeah, they're broken into different time frames and different types of appointments. And so the students can sign up for whatever they'd like on Handshake. So that is the way that our one-on-one appointments go virtually.
Thank you very much, Betsy. We have another question. The student is an incoming software engineering department student, and he's asking, I'm planning to do campus job as soon as the semester starts. Is it possible to get an on-campus job for incoming student as soon as the start of the semester? We know there are certain things international students need to do prior to that. Can Sarah or Betsy comment on that?
I can definitely help out with that. First, welcome to UTD. What a strange first semester, but we are so glad that you are here. Technically, yes, that would be possible to start. However, knowing that the semester starts next week and that our department in payroll requires at least 2 weeks in order to get all of the paperwork together to officially hire you, I think at this point I would be very hard pressed to say yes, it would be a possibility. However, theoretically, absolutely, that would be an option. As soon as you enroll in your courses and you get access to Handshake, that is the precursor in making sure that you are qualified for these on-campus jobs. But do be aware that you have to qualify for the jobs and receive the jobs and accept them, and then have ample time for our department and for payroll to get you onboarded into the system and get your timesheets generated and make sure all the documents are in line. And this can take a little bit just because there are a lot of different stakeholders who need to approve the process. So theoretically, yes, I would say since we are at the 11th, it would be a little bit hard pressed for this particular semester to start on day one of classes.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Another question regarding on-campus job. Is it required to have a specific skill set to be eligible for the role, or can I work in any role irrespective of my skill set?
That is a fantastic question that really touches on the fundamental core of employment, I feel, and Betsy, you can chip in with your team's perspective on this as well. You know, it always comes down to what the hiring manager in each department is looking for. I can't really speak for every position available on campus. Some want a very specific skill set, some want majors in a certain academic school. Some are very open to just a motivated student who wants to learn and work hard in a certain department or a realm, or maybe it's some sort of data entry. Honestly, it depends on the role. So I can't make any kind of sweeping statement because it really comes down to the core of employment. And, you know, even if I were to look for a job, what does the landscape look like? And it's different from hiring manager to hiring manager. So that is a very difficult question for me to really speak to, and the core of what we even do at the Career Center. Betsy, do you have anything to add for that?
Yeah, I can definitely jump in, Zara. I think you answered it beautifully. I definitely concur with Zara's answer that it really is dependent upon, that particular unique job posting, as well as the hiring manager, and of course the company or the entity or the institution. But generally, if a student does qualify for the prerequisites and or the required areas of what the job posting is stating that they would like for the candidates required for them to have. If a student has all those, then again, it's really, is it a very specialized position? Is it listed in the job posting? However, I do always advocate for students to go ahead and put your name in the hat and apply. Again, if you are able to check off those boxes of the general requirement of qualifications and you meet those, then I always recommend, go ahead and put in that application, because you never know, and then work with the Career Center if you have questions on being able to translate your skill sets. And maybe there's some transferable skills in there that we can really highlight, that you've got great communication skills, great leadership skills, work as a team. Maybe you pay a lot of attention to detail, so these are all soft transferable skills that we can help students really highlight. But again, if you've got some specialized skill sets that would bode well for a particular position, our Career Center can also help students navigate that realm and be able to have them effectively communicate any of those skills, whether it's specialized or the transferable skills. But again, it depends on the job posting and the hiring manager and the entity who is posting the position.
Thank you, Betsy. We do have only 5 more minutes or 3 more minutes. I will share with you one, I think, important question. If we get an on-campus job at UT Dallas, are we eligible for in-state tuition fees? I am an international student.
I think I'm hesitating here. I don't believe so, but I honestly, that is a very good question, and I am stumped on that one. I don't believe so.
Yeah, I think that is true. And also, I know that there might be some variations or some specific cases when you are engaged in as a TA or as an RA. However, just to make sure, we don't want to answer things that we are not for sure, but tomorrow, this is a very good question that you might ask the Office of Graduate Education. They might have an answer for you tomorrow, so please join us tomorrow, and hopefully we will get that to be answered. We really appreciate your engagement today. It's been fun interacting with you, having so many questions. Please, for those of you that we did not have the chance to answer your specific question, please communicate with us, Intercultural Programs or the Career Center, for specific career opportunities, for specific career questions. I'm sure Betsy and Sarah will be very pleased to get back to you. We wish you a happy day, the rest of the day, and hopefully we will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you. And I put the student employment email address in the Q&A. So if anybody has questions who'd like to email and speak with Zara, then the link is right there. So you can send her an email. Thank you.